Hello, my name is David Webb, and this is a video for Dweebovision. I am a Scrabble grandmaster, and in this video I am going to play Scrabble while providing in-game commentary on my moves. Hopefully this will help to improve your game, and be fun to watch. The game has just started, so let's join the action. It's my opponent to go first. I have a dreadful rack. I can play Chi, which would get rid of my Q, but that's the only way I can get rid of it, and the rack leave of EGLPRW is very poor, and I'm only going to get 11 points for Chi. So if I hold on to the Q, what's the best that's available? Not very much. So I'm going to change. And I'll keep, well, either ER or PER. I think I'll keep the P as well because that goes quite well with the O and the I and the S and the T that's on the board. And I'm glad I kept the P, otherwise I could have drawn another vowel. Now I have resupine and penuries. Penury still goes in column 9, resupine has been blocked. Do I have anything through the J or the I? Nearly junipers. I've got juniper, but that's not a bingo, and it doesn't score enough to play it instead of penuries. Now what about a 9-letter word through TE? So I have the inter prefix. I've also got the prefix. No, I can't see anything there, and I don't have a 7-letter bingo. So I think penuries is the only bingo I've seen. And this is going to really open the board up. And I draw the second blank. The first was played by my opponent on his opening move. Now although this rack looks unpromising with the W and the U, a blank always adds flexibility, so there could well be a bingo here. Unswears is good, so I've got that through an E or an R, and both are available in penuries. Great. Now, I'm wondering if there's a bingo through the P. I'm thinking about suppawns, and I may be confusing that with sub-awns. So I don't think I will play it if there is a bingo available. Okay, well that possibility has been eliminated. Now, unswears is playable through the R of penuries. It's not a double-double. Do I have a double-double through that R or through the I of Gygots? Can't see anything through the I. Now what about through the R? Now the anagram of unswear is unwears. That doesn't take an S. So I'm mentally imagining an R on my rack. So I've got the sub prefix. Now, well, this is a big call. What about sunwards, towards the sun? A lot of these ward words take an S and a lot of them don't. Sunwards. That is so tempting. I'm going to regret this if it comes off. But if it stays on, I get 90 points. And I'm waiting for this to be challenged. I do have some doubt about it. Now, if it stays on, I don't think I have a bingo with my rack. Well, I'm still waiting for this to be challenged or come off. Or be challenged and come off. If it stays on, do I have anything through the J? Great, Sunwood stays on. Now I've got an A for going underneath the Z, and a B for going underneath jar. So I could play dab. And I've also got had. It would be nice to play off the U as well. Let me just see what the score is here. I know I haven't considered anywhere else on the board yet, but I want to get an idea of score. 33 points for that. And the rack leave isn't terrible, DEHU. Do I have anything down from JA? Well, I have jaded, but that keeps BAHU, and I don't want to keep both the B and the H and the U. It's only 28 points in any event. Now, just looking at my rack, Horde is good, and possibly Horded. Well, I'm tempted to play bad here. I could play Bade, but I think I'd rather retain the E. That's a bingo-y tile. Now what I could do is play, well, I was thinking about playing had in this spot, but then that takes an S in front and a C in front. I think HU has more synergy or less unsynergy than BU. Let me just switch this around because Jad isn't good. Oh, Habu's good. But then that would leave me with double D. But I think I'd rather have double D than the U. I think double D still has bingo potential, especially given the DE or ED ending and the DE prefix. And that's 40 points, which is a good score. Well, there could be a bingo here through the right floater. Can't see a 7-letter bingo with this rack. But it should be fairly straightforward to sort out. A play of Fed or Defi would have quite a bingo-y rack leave. Yeah, the C and the F together aren't a great combination. I've got defense through the N of penuries, but unfortunately that doesn't hit a double word square. I've got inseeded through that N as well. That would leave me with just an F. For only about 20 points, I don't think that's particularly great. Now, my opponent hasn't provided any opportunities really for playing underneath Nogs, apart from playing directly down from the N. Can't see anything there. Now my F could go next to the first E of penuries on a triple letter square, but I can't see a way of using that square and splitting up the duplicate D, which I certainly want to do. Now I could play Fides down here. Rackleave's going to be good. Score's okay, 26 points, provides a scoring opportunity for my opponent at A1, but I don't think that's hugely dangerous. Is there somewhere better? Well, I don't mind if my opponent is distracted at the top left. This is a fairly bingo-y set of 3 tiles, and there are bingo lanes elsewhere on the board. Well, this is not a bingo-y rack, but it's a good scoring rack. So I could play Dicky in row J, making Ted. That would leave me with 1 or 2 vowels, and I don't want to do that. Wow, good bingo by my opponent. I think it's good. I will challenge it in case it's not. Yep, that's fine. Now I can play Edify at A1. That's going to score quite well. And the C and the K that I'll retain do have synergy. Can I do better than that? Let me see what this scores. 36 points. Yeah, I think that's fine. Now I have Dickia, which is playable in row J, making Ted. Do I have any other bingos? Through an S I would have Drixie, but the S of Veinings is in the wrong place. Now hopefully row J will remain untouched, because it's not easy to score well in that lane unless you have a bingo. Now what should I do if that bingo lane is blocked? I've got the C and the K for score, and if I played ICK off I'd be keeping a rack leave of DEIR, which is very bingo-y. But can I score well with ICK? I can't see a way of playing off those 3 tiles. Well, they could play at B13, ick and is. Wow. Okay, that's a very good bingo for my opponent. He blocks my intended spot for Dickia, but has provided an alternative. And this is going to really add some volatility to the board, because it's opening up column 15 and row O. Now I'm 30 points behind, and this is going to put me about 40 points up. Wow, 51 points, that's huge. Is there anywhere else for this word? Nope, not that I can see. Now, I don't have a bingo here, but I've got a D for going after odd, so column 15 is available to me. I could play blood for 29 points. And I could play board in row O, B-O-R-D, for 30 points. Not huge scores. And if both remain available, I might keep both available if there's a good spot to play elsewhere. Now looking at the scores, I have a 30-point lead and there are 19 tiles in the bag, so it's quite a close game. Now I'm not sure of HORD. I think it's not good. Now 30 points is okay, and I am taking out a good spot for my opponent, but the rack leave is terrible. These tiles lack synergy. But I do have a vowel and a scoring tile, so although it's a fragile rack leave, it's not a disastrous one. But can I do better? I can't play down column 15 because I don't have an E for going after the R of Dikia. And apart from Horde, which I'm pretty sure is not good, I haven't seen anything else which plays in row O. So I think I am going to go with this. Or am I? I am. Wow, that's pretty good. Through an I would have Aerolith or Lothia. Unfortunately, the Eye of Dikia is not in the right spot. Loather is a 7-letter word. Is there anywhere where that can play? No, there isn't. Now, I've got floaters to consider. So, there's the E and the D of Edify. Can't see anything through the E. Or the D. What about the floaters in Newer? No, can't see anything through the W. Now what about the R? Unlikely, since I've got an R. Well, that's a shame. Now there are other floaters. There's the K of Dikia. No, can't see anything through that. And the I's in the wrong spot. There's TE in column 8, so that will be a bingo beginning one square above it, which I think would force it to begin ATE. Well, I can't see anything there. So I don't have a bingo, but I have a pretty bingo-y rack. 12 tiles left, quite an open board. What I'd like to do is play off the H and the O. So where can I do that? Well, I could do that at B1, but that's taking out floaters. I think although this rack is bingo-y, it's not fantastically bingo-y. I don't think there's a high probability that I will bingo, so I don't think it's a problem blocking bingo lanes. And in any event, I won't be blocking all of them. So what I could do is play HO up here. The L doesn't go fabulously well with the rest of this rack. It's only 21 points. So what about playing O down here? 25 points, a little bit better. Still doesn't feel like it is the best I can do. I'm looking in column 12 to see if I've got a play starting at A12, going through the G of veinings. I've got 6 minutes left and there's 12 tiles in the bag. Well, this just doesn't feel great. The H is quite a flexible tile. It's quite a good tile. So it'd be nice to score more than 25 points with it. Looking at the tiles that are left, they are not particularly bingo-y. Actually, this is pretty good because I am blocking ox. So, can I do any better than this? I have got a 30-point lead. Yeah, I think this is fine. Wow, do I have something here? This looks good. So, real tone through an E. The E of edify doesn't work. Good score for my opponent, 34 points, burns the Q. Don't think there is a 7, but this is a hugely bingo-y rack. Through the I of Dickia, relation, oriental, Tailor on. Is there a 4th? Don't think so. What about through the K? Ah, real tone does play. Real tone plays in row N above board. Fantastic. Oh, that is superb. So glad I have found a bingo. Just 4 minutes left. 7 tiles in the bag. I'll be emptying the bag. But I've got a 24-point lead, so real tone is going to give me about a 100-point lead, which should be enough to secure the win. Now, having found one bingo, is there a better one? What about the K of Dickia? Can't see anything there. What about the S of Sunwards? I'm not sure I considered that S in with my previous racks. Well, I can't see anything, but that looks like a pretty bingo-y set of tiles. So, real tone is what I have seen. Do I need to look for anything else? Nope. This is going to provide a great scoring spot for my opponent for the X. But he may not have it. And if he does, what's the worst he could do? That scores 66, not fantastic. So I'll have a 90-point lead after this. He can't play... Yeah, all he can do is XI underneath real tone because only an E goes underneath the R and there are no E's unplayed. He does have that X. He has 7 consonants. Fantastic. He can play flex. I have provided a pretty good opportunity for him, but that's not going to recover what he needs to win. I've got 90 points. He's going to get about 50 for flex. He's then going to have RNTT, which will have minimum scoring opportunities. Now I've got 3 minutes left on my clock. So, can I go out in 2? I don't think he's got any real alternative to flex. Yeah. So, looking at the scores, I have got a 41-point lead. 3 minutes on my clock. Where can I play? Well, not a huge number of spots, and I'm short on time. I could play divot in column 2, keeping A, P. Well, I think there will be opportunities to go out with that. And I suspect this is not best. But it is winning. Can't see anywhere to play pivot. So that's divot for 18. Now I can play parl in column 10 onto the L of real tone. Do I have a second out? Well, I don't need one. Through an R I would have ARPA or Para. So, yeah, I'm just checking my opponent's words are good, and they are. So this is what I was thinking of doing. Pal for 6 points. Can I score more elsewhere? Yes, I can. Now the anagram of Pal is ALAP, that doesn't play. 10 points for Pal. Just looking around in case I have overlooked a higher scoring spot. There may be one, but I can't see it. Just waiting for my opponent to formally end the game. He has 12 minutes on his clock. That's the end of the game. And the final score, 431 to my opponent, 492 to me, a winning margin of 61 points. Let's see what I missed. It was my opponent to go first. Well, he's got Zygot on his rack, and he played Zygots, burning the blank for no points. That's a very strange play. Anyway, this was my rack. I could have got 15 points for Prowl, keeping E, G, Q. Well, I think changing is better, but it's probably fairly close. Penuries was the bingo I saw. What I didn't see was pureeing in column 6, which would have scored 4 more points and would have been slightly better. Sunwards was good, and the alternatives were unswears that I nearly played. Suppawns is a good word, but with 1 P. I didn't see that. This is where I played Habu for 40, and that looks best. Now, I played Fides or Fides at A4. What I could have done was play Feis at D1 for 4 more points, but I'm keeping a duplicate tile, and keeping a duplicate tile, by rule of thumb, is worth about 5 points, so I think Fides is better. Good spot by my opponent. Wow, key for 37 points. I didn't see that, but it does retain duplicate I, which is not good. What did I do? Well, I did Edify for 36 points, which is only 1 point less than key, and it's got a better rack leaf, so Edify is the better play. Nice bingo by my opponent. And fortunately I was able to come back with a 90-point bingo. I played board for 30, that looks best. And good, I didn't miss a bingo here, I thought I may have done. Now what did I play? Yeah, OH for 25. Well, in considering this rack, you really are looking at both the score and the rack leave, and I kept a very bingo-y set of 5 tiles, or a fairly bingo-y set of 5 tiles. So I think this move compares reasonably well with the alternatives suggested here. And real tone was the only bingo, so I'm delighted to have spotted that. My opponent was now facing a terrible rack. Fortunately, I provided an opportunity to score well with flex. I played divot here. I wasn't really Sure, this was remotely best, but there were no plays scoring more than 30 points, so it wasn't far off. And finally, Pile for 10 was the highest scoring play. So, an interesting game. Very strange opening move by my opponent, burning the blank for no points at all. Having said that, he did then place some good bingos in Veinings and Sail Room. I was pleased that Sunwood stayed on the board and delighted to spot Real Tone, so there were some good bingos in that game. And looking at the board, it's pretty open. 3 of the 4 corners have been reached, so the game was quite open all the way through, which enabled the scoring to continue. So I hope that game was of interest to you and may help to improve your game and that you enjoyed watching it. My name is David Webb and this has been a video for Dweebovision.